Hey guys, just got back from dropping my kids off at school. Wanted to do a really quick video on top of what we were already doing for the regular video. The regular video is in editing right now, and it'll be up later today for the regular status report. But I just wanted to update you guys for a second on the situation with Hobbico. They have, according to news reports, as well as a gentleman who pops into, I assume it's a gentleman, could be a lady, but anyway, an employee at Hobbico who pops into the comment section all the time and sort of keeps us up to date with what is going on. They filed paperwork with the Federal Bankruptcy Court yesterday, Monday, the 12th, to basically sell themselves at auction in 2 weeks. It'll be March 26th, which is basically 2 weeks from yesterday, or the Monday the 26th. They're trying to enter into what is known as a stalking horse agreement, which basically lays a bare minimum ground floor price for their assets, meaning that some company that it will remain nameless offers them X amount of dollars for whatever their assets are. Now, what that ends up being, as far as like, does Revell get sold? Does Estes get sold? Revell of Germany sold to someplace in Europe and all that. You don't know necessarily what the entire situation is going to be. Obviously, nobody wanted to come up front and buy the entire mess that Hobbico was for whatever price that they were offering to sell it for, or that would have happened. Obviously, Hobbico itself did not want to sell individual assets the way you would sort of piecemeal out the company, because I guess maybe they weren't getting what they felt was a fair price for their assets. So we've come to this point, which is now where we're going to auction the company, and having that sort of stalking, again, no stalking horse bid, lays a foundation, tries to make it so there are no lower bids than this minimum bid. Again, who would buy everything all at once is debatable. And again, we won't know until everything is sold, because the whole point of a stalking horse is that the company that is putting in that floor bid for the bottom price of the assets is unknown to the public, basically allowing that company to not be tainted by association with the bidding process. Usually there is a formula within the contract that if this company bids this low price that establishes the sort of reserve, I guess would be the best way to put it, of the auction, and then some other company would bid more, and the stalking horse company does not want to match or exceed that bid, the stalking horse company either can withdraw entirely from the process, again, without ever being named and having their name associated with the process, or in some cases, they are paid a premium, basically, for their, being there to set a floor. If you look up various bankruptcy cases, you can see where this has happened in the past, where a company will say, we'll buy the company for X amount of dollars, and then another bid comes in and their money is refunded, and then there's a sort of a premium, buyer's premium, if you will, put on top of that for legal proceedings, for filing all the paperwork to buy the company and then not actually fulfilling the sale. So again, how much that all goes into, is debatable. How much money Hobbico is really worth as a whole or as separate parts. What would happen to Revell? Obviously we're an automotive modeling channel here, so I know the RC guys are all in a tizzy of their own thing, and I can't really speak to that because I'm not in that genre of the hobby. But my guess is Hobbico wants to sell itself as a thing. This is Hobbico. It comes with Great Plains and Tower Hobbies and all of these subsidiary companies, and they want to sell it as a whole. Now, whether or not the company that would buy the entire ball of wax would then keep everything is a completely different story. And again, you wouldn't know what that scenario would be until the sale would be finalized, and you would know what company this is that bought this entire conglomeration of hobby related manufacturing and distribution. So, I guess that's, at least we don't have to wait till April 20th to figure out what they're going to do. Obviously, like I said, April 21st was their window to not pay creditors and not have any financial obligations as far as that goes. Obviously, nobody wanted to buy the whole shebang for whatever Hobbico was trying to sell itself for, on the open market, because somebody would have done that. It would have been like when Pegasus bought out Mobius. There would have been an announcement, the sale had taken place, and la-di-da-di-da, you would have went on your way. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to buy it. If there's anybody who wants to buy it, Hobbico secured Lincoln Financial Services as their representative in the sale. They seem to think there's more than one potential bidder. Um, you will start wondering, like, who? I mean, you can see where individual companies might be interested in buying individual pieces. Traxxas would probably more than lovely get their hands on all of the RC stuff, and I don't know, maybe Round 2 or Pegasus or somebody would like to buy out Revell, and I'm sure somebody, maybe, again, my hope and dream is for the original ownership of Revell of Germany to buy Revell of Germany back, so we can get back to those kind of models rather than the dreck we've had since Hobbico has owned them. It all depends on again, who buys out the entire thing, or if it really does come down to a nobody wants to buy the whole thing and they end up having to auction the individual assets off. So it'll be something to watch for. If you happen to be, an attorney watching this channel, or somebody who knows an attorney, or somebody in the legal processing, and you have access to Pacer, which is the federal court docket system, that costs money. It's like $50 a year, and I just really don't feel like paying $50 just to access these documents. But if you want to, if you put in Hobbico Bankruptcy into most search engines, the first thing that's going to pop up is the Pacer system filings for it. One interesting thing to look for, if you happen to be in that, would be they had to make regulatory filings for the financial assets of the individual companies. And so one of the things that there is a statement of finances for is Revell itself. It's not really worth $50 to me personally, although it's killing me softly inside to know exactly how much money they make and what their finances are like, and exactly how much of a going concern Revell really is. I mean, we know that they make money, but it'd be interesting to know how much money they make. Nosy, being Revell is sort of privately held within Hobbico. There's also filings for Revell of Germany. There's filings for several of the other major assets like Tower Hobbies and I believe one or two of the RC companies is in there. There's 7 separate individual asset filings beyond the whole, Hobbico as a whole. So, like I said, if you have access to Pacer, there'll be some interesting PDF files in there. Like I said, I almost paid for it last night because there's a free trial, but knowing myself, I'd forget about it, and then I'd end up paying $50 for federal bankruptcy, or actually it's just federal dockets, period, but I'd end up with federal document access that I don't really need. Although it would be kind of fun to watch this take place in real time. Maybe I'll buy it. But at any rate, that's where we're at with that. That's the latest situation with Hobbico, is they will be auctioning themselves to the highest bidder, hopefully. You want to hope that somebody who buys them but has the cash to support the individual businesses if they're not going to, or secures finance buyers if they're going to spin the companies off into separate entities in the future. You don't want to get into a situation where this company buys Hobbico on the cheap, spins off all the assets, and then all of the various companies are back into a state we had, in the 2000s when Revell was privately owned prior to being sold to Crayola, where they were wildly underfinanced. And, it was similar to the Racing Champions situation, where Racing Champions bought out, AMT Erdl, mostly for the diecast business, especially for the NASCAR licensing, and, left the actual AMT and NPC to sort of starve and die and wither and almost implode. So we shall see. Anyway, guys, that wraps up this little quickie, and we'll see you guys on the other side.